I'm Emmeline.
And I'm Kindy.
And welcome to Stuff with Moms, a podcast about shows, stories, and enjoying life. So, Kindy, how was your month?
Oh, man. It was good. I got to pull some weeds the other day. It's kind of been not the best weather, but kind of the perfect weather for weed pulling because it's been moist. And so there's
That
moisture
helps.
in the soil. Yeah. So that was really nice. And then we've just been like, I don't know, hanging out. We did go swimming a couple weekends ago and Matt stubbed his toe good enough that it broke it.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
He broke his poor little toe. Yeah,
His
it
baby
hurt
toe?
so bad.
Oh.
No, so it's the one, I think it's the second one from
the big toe.
the big toe.
Okay.
Yeah, it's either the second or the third. I think it's the third. It's kind of like the middle one.
Okay.
And Anders is coming to say goodnight. You want to say goodnight to everybody who's listening?
Good night.
You're so cute. Okay. Love you.
I love you.
So, yeah, he had to go to the doctor that same day, and they're like, yep, you broke your toe. And he's like, oh, this close, because he hadn't broken a bone in his body until now. So he was pretty bummed. He felt accomplished and bummed.
So
he made it this far, but
that's funny because the first and only bone that I've ever broken has been my toe.
Oh, serious?
Yeah. But it was my pinky toe. So
your pinky toe. Oh, yeah. Those little buggers are like hurt.
What happened was Oscar was running down the stairs and I was running up the stairs and my toe caught on him.
Ooh.
So I got up to the top of the stairs and like, my foot hurts so bad. I looked down and my toe was like,
I was just hanging on.
It was just bent all the way over, and I was like, popped it back, and I was like, oh.
Oh my gosh! So you didn't go to the doctor or anything? You just popped it back in and went about your day?
Well, the only thing that they're gonna do is say, yeah, it's broken.
Yeah, yeah.
So
they don't split.
They
your
don't
foot
do
for
anything. No. So I was like, well, just deal with it now. So.
Oh my gosh. How long did it hurt before it felt better? Before it felt like kind of...
It was a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Because at first he just thought he just hit it really good because it was bleeding.
Uh-huh.
And then everything started to purple up and
yeah, mine looked like a grape.
Pretty big. Did it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Were you tempted to have to at what point do you cut
off
your
toes?
skin? Because there's
the pressure.
Just because their pressure is too much so that you got to release it. At what point does that have to happen?
If it's swelling up incredibly big, I guess. I mean, I punctured it and released, but I only used a pin. Like I didn't.
Oh, you didn't
use a
slice
scalpel or something.
Well,
I just used a pin and
nice.
squeezed out so it would not be as
blood.
tight. But it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
So, but
good.
I'm okay with that sort of thing. Some people aren't.
Yeah, some people probably more squeamish.
Yeah,
you're pretty tough.
or not pain tolerant. So
yeah, that is true. I feel like my pain tolerance is pretty low, which is sad. Anyway. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay.
Oh, we did go so my cousin's daughter got a mission call. She's going to Portland, Oregon.
Ooh,
She's kind of disappointed. She wanted to go to Germany because she's learning German.
Oh.
Yeah. So
well, I have a nephew in Oregon, so
yeah.
And my oldest brother, he served in Portland, Oregon. And he loved it there. That's where they want to move back to. So she's going to a really awesome mission.
Yeah, well, that's good. Yeah, I don't know if it's good now, but because did you know? I had no idea they legalized all drugs in Portland, Oregon. Right? Yeah. They're actually working on taking it back because it didn't turn out so well.
Oh.
I don't know how that's going to work out. Backtracking on a law that you passed. Yeah. Anyway. But yeah. What about you? What have you been up to?
Well, let's see. I got breakfast in bed this morning. That was fun.
Ooh.
Yeah, the boys surprised me. It was really nice. I have all my supplies for making. We have these like 4 windows. Have I talked about this before? That are just big squares. They don't open or close at all. So they don't have any latches. They're just 4 big square windows, right, on the one side of our house.
Oh,
and
okay.
I am going to make stained glass or faux stained glass and put them in those 4 windows. So there's this paint that you can buy that you can create the stained glass look. So I'm going to paint a design using some like black Elmer's glue.
Oh, okay.
And then fill it in with this stained glass like paint. And then I'm going to hang my creations in my 4 windows. And so it's going to look like I have 4 stained glass windows. So, yeah. So I have all my supplies and I've narrowed down what I actually want to do for it. Now I just gotta go at it. So maybe by next podcast I'll have started or worked at it a bit, so I can talk a little bit about it, about the what works and what doesn't, maybe.
Yeah.
So if any of our listeners want to try it out, they can. But
yeah, Emmeline will have some pointers. That is so cool.
Yeah. So that's going to be my fun project. And I got some more like Kyle and I went and got a floor jack for our van because there's a part under the engine that, because minivans kind of ride really low to the ground. And there's a part right in the middle that's broken that holds the muffler system up. And one of the little pieces that holds it up is broken, so I have to replace it. But I couldn't reach it very good because it's right in the middle, and I can't get under. My arm can reach under, but that's about it. My arm and head. So we went and got this really awesome floor jack, and I'm excited to use it. And then some.
That's hilarious.
And so I can replace the part. And the part just arrived this week, so I can.
Yeah.
I can go out and get it put on, and I'm so excited to have a floor jack because I've always wanted one. So I finally had an excuse to get one. So
yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And so, what does the floor jack do? Does it lift your car like a certain amount of feet?
Yeah, so it can lift it up to 2 feet high. The really nice thing about the floor
whole
jack,
thing, or just like the front?
Well,
or
the
back
front or the
back.
Time? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, though.
Yeah. So the floor jack has 4 wheels. It's about 2-3 feet long, and it has like a pump on one side, and so you can kind of crank it up, and it lifts your van. Or, your vehicle, mine being a van. Because I can get under our truck easy. I can't get under the van because it's so low. So, anyway, I'm excited to use it.
Yeah, well, congratulations on getting your floor jack finally. I love that you've always wanted one of those. I think it's the coolest thing.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So wait, is your truck fixed? Did you ever get that sorted?
Yeah. So we ended up taking it to a mechanic, and the problem that I thought was wrong with it was what was wrong with it, and
I think you probably did already talk. I
did talk about it last time. Yeah. So anyway, it's all fixed.
Well, I'm glad that's fixed, and now you have a new thing to fix.
Yes. And I'm excited for my new toys.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have the word of the month, and I picked Zhuzh. Zhuzh.
Zhuzh. It sounds familiar.
Right?
It's somebody's like, if they have a lot of zhuzh, they have a lot of their coolness. It's somebody's coolness.
Kind of.
It's a person's coolness. That's what I'm going to guess it is.
Okay. To zhuzh something up is to improve its flavor or appearance by way of a small improvement, adjustment, or addition. So it's kind of trying to, yeah, like you said, spice it up a little bit. Or the sentence is, he likes to zhuzh up his outfits with brightly colored ties.
I like that word. I'm going to use it.
Isn't it fun to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard it in a couple podcasts. So okay. I thought that'd be fun. Mostly because it's just fun to say.
It is fun to say.
I'm going to zhuzh up my bedroom. I don't know.
I'm going to zhuzh up the food that I'm making.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
That's great. All right, as a topic, we kind of wanted to talk a little bit about mom guilt. How to manage it, because it's never going away.
Yeah. Sorry.
You're going to always have it. Kindy, do you want to start us off? We aren't going to go real in depth with it, because...
Yeah.
But just like...
Because you kind of got to figure out your own way to...
cope.
Masterly, navigate through this mom guilt that you'll just have, because no matter what, you're never gonna do anything right. And why do we think like what is the right way? Who the freak knows? Because I guarantee you, the mom that you think is doing everything perfectly has that mom guilt and feels like she is not doing everything that she could do for her children and family. So to me, I think the best way to manage it, or to at least if you're really feeling it one day, to have a mantra to just keep repeating in your head until that guilt for that moment goes away. And the best one that I can think of is, you're doing better than you think you are, because you really are. And honestly, nobody's doing it perfectly. No one's doing it better than you. I feel like a lot of good moms out there are taking this pressure of having to be perfect, where just being there and being present and doing everything that you can for your kids is enough. Like, it is enough what you are doing. And honestly, I feel like if you yell at your kids, or if you are one of those parents who spank their children when they're naughty, or you're one of those parents that put your kids in timeout, or you're one of those parents who in a fit of rage is a little extra forceful with your child, or anything like that, like, we all have had those instances growing up, and I feel like that kind of is what makes us, like, our parents kind of help mold us. And no matter how we try to do better, or however it is that we're parenting, that is okay, because we also have Heavenly Father. Sorry, I'm gonna get a little churchy on you, but we also have Heavenly Father that kind of helps us along the way as well, and we can lean on Him. And it's not just that; it's just the fact that how you parent is not terrible. It's just how you do it, and that way is good for your family. Because what's going to happen? You're going to be like, "Oh, I can't parent. I'm a terrible parent. How about you go be this person's child and they can parent it?" Or, I mean, if you think that you're doing bad, then change it. But I guarantee you you're not. I don't know if this is coming across, but it's basically just, have that mantra in your head, and when you're feeling that mom guilt or you're feeling extra bad about something you did, you just keep telling yourself over and over until you stop having that mom guilt for that moment. I'm doing better than I think I am, because you are. It is very true. Like, you are doing better than you think you are.
I like that. I like that mantra. I like how you said that, we have Heavenly Father on our side, because we do. They're His children. And
Yep.
He wants them to feel loved and to, He gave them to us for a reason. So those kids are yours for a reason. You do need to have that mantra. That's great. I wonder what I'm going to have to figure out what mine's going to be, because I've never been ever given myself a chance to step back and chant a mantra, essentially. I usually just feel bad every night of all the stuff that I could have done better and go, I'm going to do better tomorrow. And in some ways I do better tomorrow, and other ways I don't. So it's always just a I don't know. I feel like I'm always heading up a slippery mountain. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I get a foothold here or a handhold there, and sometimes I slide back down to the bottom. But, overall, there's some basic things that I want to teach my kids, and I feel like those basic things are emerging in them. And so those are the good things that I want, and all the rest I kind of go, that would be nice, or this quality that it would be good if they had it, but it's not necessary. There's some things that are necessary, and as long as I get those across, I feel like I'm doing good.
That's great.
Yeah. So
maybe just remember the main things that you want to teach them,
and if you're doing that, then you're doing okay.
Yeah. Yep.
We're okay. We're okay.
We're okay. Yeah. I think that's good. Yeah. I'm not saying I say that to myself. I do feel like I'm saying it to a lot of people, though. Like, when I do say it, I'm like, I bet they're like, shush. Don't tell me that. You said that already.
My chant is, we're okay.
There you go. We're okay. Yeah, I've got a neighbor. I've told her to do a little dance and say, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. She stresses out about a lot of things, but yeah, I think our main message is to just know that, we all have it. Unfortunately, it's a part of who we are as mothers and as women. Really, I don't think it's particularly just for moms. I mean, it's more profound. It's more in your face, because you're like, ugh,
raising tiny humans.
Said that. Yeah. I should. Yeah. It's like they depend on us for so many things, and it's like, there's times where it's like, if this kid doesn't have to go to therapy, I think I'm doing okay. But let's be real. I think no matter what, my kids will have to go, because life's hard, and it's not just what I have done to them. It's others.
Life is crazy right now. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's just the fact that you can do this.
It's gonna be okay.
Past that. It's gonna be okay. Yeah.
Just love on those kids.
Yeah. Just love your children. And I feel like moms don't give themselves that credit of like, you know what is best for your children. You fight for your children because you know them, and you are the one that is taking care of them and is in the position to do what is for their best interest. And I feel like a lot of moms don't have that, like they don't feel that support. So I think that's also important, is just trust yourself, trust what Heavenly Father has given you in your motherhood of knowing what is best for your children and for your family, and to go that with the determination of, I know what I'm doing, even though you don't know what you're doing, but you are doing great. Anyway, I think
Go
I'm done with my
moms.
soapbox. Yeah. Woo! Woot woot.
All right, now we're going to be talking about 5 episodes of Smallville season 1, because we realized that there was only one on the final disc. So we are going to be talking about episodes 17 through 21 of season 1.
Yep.
Okay, so I call this one the Angel of Death episode.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because there's this kid who goes to visit his mom, and she's like, you need to, what is it, assisted suicide? Yep. That's what she wanted. She was in pain. She didn't want to be around anymore. So she's like, if you love me, you'll kill me, which I hate. What kind of a request is that?
Right.
But so Tyler kills his mom, but does he? The first initial thought was, I really liked the stunt guy who fell from the window. Like, good job on the stunt guy. That was awesome. One that plays Tyler. So Tyler gets shoved out the window and dies. But since his last act, and this is where I was like, I think this is how the kryptonite affects people in the show, is their desire at the time of their kryptonite interaction is what their power is.
Yeah.
And so his desire, essentially was that he was killing his mom. So now he has this like touch of death ability. The guy who's at the morgue that's doing like the autopsy on him, Tyler wakes up and touches him and he turns to ash. And throughout the episode, that's what he does. So he has this power. So I had a question. What are your thoughts on euthanasia, about assisted suicide?
I was going to ask yours. I don't think it's right. I think, yes, there's suffering, and yes, it sucks too. And granted, this is coming from a healthy person who has no no chronic pain or anything like that. But I feel like we miss a lot of what we're here on Earth for, in the sense that, and granted, the individuals that participate in it, they might have a different view of the afterlife or of Jesus Christ. But I feel like that is something that we need to get back to as Christians, to be more cognizant of the reason that we're here. We're here to experience this life, no matter what it is. And that is the unfortunate part. And it's the beautiful part, because there are oppositions in all things. And I feel like there is growth. You don't see it, you don't want it when it's happening, but there is growth in the pain that we experience here on Earth, no matter if it's physical, mental, or emotional. There is growth and there is strength that comes with those experiences. And kind of like in the show where, she was in pain, but she was also getting the help she needed and she got better. So later in the episode, you find out that his mom actually got better and she was okay. But we have no idea what Heavenly Father
has in store for us.
Yeah. And taking our own life, whether it's legal in the law of the land that you're in, is totally disregarding Heavenly Father's plan for us, which is to come to Earth to experience this life. I mean, it feels forever. It feels drawn out. It feels overwhelming most of the time. But in those moments, that's where we draw strength from Heavenly Father. That's where we have the opportunity to ask to go to Him, like to draw the strength from Him to be. Anyway, I think I'm just reiterating my point of the fact that, like, I disagree with it. I've never really thought about it until this, and I was like, I'm going to ask her, but I also have to figure out how I feel about it.
My thoughts are essentially along the same lines as you, that it's cutting short what your life is supposed to be, what your experience is supposed to be. So again, essentially everything that you said. Yes, pain sucks. And there's times in your life where you could be in a lot of it. But we don't know the point. And we don't know what the outcome would be, like Tyler's mom, who got better and went home. So it isn't up to us to play God, essentially, as a lot of people put it.
Okay, here's a question though. Did you think that the rest of the touching that he did was murder or assisted suicide?
Oh, totally murder.
Right?
Because they did not ask for it.
Yeah.
So he goes and visits this old lady who's in a lot of pain. So he's like, oh, I'll help her. And so he goes back and kills her. She's like yelling, no, leave me alone. And he kills her. So yeah, total murder. And then he kills the other guy he works for. That was an accident. But then because Martha saw Clark's mom, he chases her down and is trying to kill her. And yeah, so it's all murder from then on out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I did like in the episode, you kind of see Lex's and Lionel's relationship. So it's kind of like the B plot. Is Lionel's like sent a dude, and the dude he sent is actually the actor is Sean Connery's son. So fun fact for you there.
No way.
Yeah, the guy that plays Dominic. Lionel sent him to check up on Lex to make sure Lex is doing what he should. You kind of get a glimpse into how Lex has been raised by Lionel. Lionel has been giving him, instead of giving him love and affection, he's given him books on how to be a great leader and war. And every time they interact, Lex is like, it's a chess game. I'm trying to foresee his moves so that I know what moves I should make to counteract what he's going to do against me. He has this like combative relationship instead of this nurturing relationship. And it got me to thinking about, like we were talking about earlier, how this show kind of touches on every once in a while nurture versus nature. And whether in the nurturing side of it, you can see how Lex is trying to end this bad cycle he's in. Coming to Smallville, he's like, you know what? I'm going to change. I'm going to become a better person. But then Lionel comes in and kind of chips away at Lex's resolve, little bit by little bit. And Lex, who's trying to start a good cycle and not have history repeat itself, is kind of being stopped. So as far as like ending a cycle of bad habits, have you ever seen anybody be able to do that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think the key to it is replacing those bad habits with good habits. Like that's how it works. If you don't replace the bad with good, you're just going to revert back to the bad.
Yeah. Well, and it's just the fact that knowing what is bad and knowing that you don't have to do the same thing. And then it's also different for each person, because just in homes where abuse is present, no matter what kind of abuse, and you don't continue that, I think that is where that type of change happens often. And then you get the individuals where they continue the cycle and they're not as bad as the previous person, but they're also following in those same footsteps as well. And they use that as an excuse that it's okay to be this way because this is how I was treated. And it's like, no, it's still not okay.
Yeah.
Get help.
Yep.
But I actually, because this episode, it also seemed like Lex was more like, poor me, woe is me. This is how I grew up. This is how, how you were saying that it's more confrontational with his father, more of a chess game, and his dad is testing him, and then he sees the Clark family and how they treat each other. And I wanted to ask, do you feel sorry for rich people?
I guess it depends on what they're complaining about. That's a funny question. I think everybody, I don't think sorry is the right word. I think that everybody has situations that I don't feel sorry for them. It's more like that they could use some compassion for. And, this is the pious Emmeline speaking. When it comes down to it, there's people that I'm like, they shouldn't be complaining.
Right. They have
money. They don't have problems like the rest of us, right? Yeah. I think that rich people do. They have their own set of problems. Like any group of people in the world has, whether it's race, whether it's money, whether it's, I can't think of anything else, your sex, like male or female, any one group, they have problems. There's going to be problems. Life is problems, Yeah. And so they're just different problems. And when you're looking from the outside at this one group's problems, all you can see is the comparative of your own problems. And you're like, they know nothing.
Right.
Right. But no, they're real problems for that person. And we have all been given, kind of going back to the mom guilt, we have all been given different challenges, different humans to care for, that there's things about it that's going to be hard for us. And then there's things about it that from the outside, people think look easy. And we have, oh, she's the best mom. That's really, from the outside, things look easy. And from our perspective, it's hard. So I'm sure it's the same way for rich people. Yeah. They have their own set of problems.
Oh yeah. And I feel like, and I don't know a lot of rich people, so this is just from social media and movies, but it kind of seems like there is a disconnection between relationships within the family. Like that seems profound. Like if you have, and this isn't everybody, of course there's exceptions, but I feel like if you have lots of money, there's more opportunities to not have to be together and to spend time together. So kind of how Lex was saying how, he never had the support from his father. He never had that that kind of connection. His father never wanted to, because in this episode, Clark goes fishing with his dad every year. And for Jonathan, it's that time. It's that time that they spend together. And so Lex is like, be grateful for the fact that your dad wants to spend time with you. And it is interesting where it's you think the more money you have, the more time you have, but it almost is replaced with other things that you do. So kind of how I think there was one episode where we had talked about where the kryptonite, or I guess I should say meteor rocks, because they haven't called it that yet. Where it emphasizes who they are already. I feel like money's kind of that way as well, where it doesn't make you better people. It just kind of I don't know, but yeah, I kind of was starting to feel sorry for Lex Luthor, and I was like, it sucks to be him. But then Jonathan had said something about where Lex is playing with Clark and his friends in a game of chess. And I thought, that's kind of interesting because he only shows up every once in a while. They don't hang out. He just pays for a lot of things. He thinks that that's going to matter, that's going to cause a deep connection, and it's not. Throwing money at things isn't going to draw you closer to someone, which I think Jonathan has a point there. But then I think in that same episode, they actually did hang out.
Yeah.
I was like, well, never mind.
But... And they kind of play at, you're not seeing every moment of their lives, right? So maybe they do hang out sometimes.
I think if it doesn't happen on screen, it doesn't happen at all. So they should have it where they're just hanging out on screen. Although, to be honest, Clark doesn't really seem like the hangout type.
Yeah. He's like, I gotta work today.
Yeah, he kind of wanders around town looking for things to people to save.
Yep.
But it also kind of showcased how Lex is envious of Clark because, he talks about the time that he wants to spend, that Jonathan wants to spend with Clark. And then it is also interesting because you see in this episode where Clark has to navigate the changes that he wants in his life. He doesn't want to go to the fishing trips. He hates them. He thinks it's awful. But then at the end, he's okay with it because he realizes that Jonathan, that's not what it's about for Jonathan. It's about spending time with Clark.
Yeah.
And so it almost changes Clark's perspective on the trip because it's not that for Jonathan. It's the time that they spend together. And then he realizes, okay, so it's not that he loves fishing. It's that he loves spending time with Clark. And that's just what they're doing together. So.
Yep. Good episode. Any other thoughts on it?
Chloe has a surprisingly large amount of connections. Anything and everything she needs, she knows somebody in that aspect.
Field of work. Yeah.
Yeah.
I met a guy. Oh, my friend at whatever, the DMV. Yeah. Oh, there's a guy at the government. Yeah. I have a friend on the newspaper. You're like, when are you hanging out with all these people?
Right?
Because like Kindy said, if it doesn't happen on screen, it doesn't happen.
Yeah. So she just magically has all these connections, and conveniently enough, that gets her the information that she needs.
Yep.
Because most of the stuff, it'd be opinion pieces.
No, because really, if you think about it, like a person that wants to become a reporter, which she does, she would make these sorts of connections. So it does make sense that she knows all these people, but she does drop those lines all the time where she's like, oh, I just called my guy at the DMV. Oh, I just called my cop friend. Oh, I flirted my way out of a ticket once, and now we have a good rapport. Like, what?
Yeah. It's like, yeah, she's personable, but holy crap, what high schooler has all these connections?
I know.
Like, as a reporter, sure, but she's in high school.
Yeah.
Yep. So
she's starting down the way, I guess. As a freshman in high school, even.
Yeah. Dorky little, even though none of them look like a freshman.
Oh, no. Okay, so one last thing about this episode is you kind of see Lana's... Because I watched these couple episodes with Kyle. He watched them with me. And he's like, man, Lana is a master manipulator. And I'm like, yes, she is. She got Clark to do what she wanted. She got Whitney to do what she wanted. She has gotten Lex to do what she wanted. Like, she has some skills.
Yes.
And I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's all I'm going to say about that.
Matt always laughs at me when I ask him if he wants to watch with me. It's funny.
All right. Now, our next episode was, I called it the Queen Bee episode. I should really look at what the titles of the episodes actually are.
I wrote them down. It's Drone.
Okay, Drone. All right, so we'll say my fake title, and then Kindy will tell us what the actual title is.
Because I write down the actual title, and then I write something beside it, because drone, like, I was thinking drones, even though that did not exist at the time this show came out.
But drones are a type of bee, one of the workers, so.
Yeah, which makes sense, but I still wrote bees next to it, but I like yours better. Queen Bee.
Queen Bee. So this one's kind of about the running for student body president or whatever for the freshman year, and all the kids that are running, and one of them, she fell in the biggest crater from the meteor shower. There was a hive of bees in there, and she got stung by the bees over and over, and
is super allergic, but didn't die miraculously.
Yeah, she was in a coma for a while, but then meteor. She has this power to control bees from now on.
Yeah.
So,
and she's crazy, of course.
Yep.
Everybody who has powers besides Clark is crazy. So just count on that.
Meteor rock makes people crazy.
Yes.
There were a couple of lines that I really liked from this, and my Superman reference quote is going to be in this episode because I really liked it. But at one point, Pete signs up Clark to run for president, and this episode I really like Pete because the actor himself, he does such a good job. I wish they used him more because you see this friend side of Clark, and it's fun to see. But then they get really involved in the drama of girls and everything. And so, Pete kind of gets tossed to the side. But it's just fun to see their camaraderie and their friendship. And Pete, he's like, I'm the man, I'm the brains behind the man that's going to get the job. Because Clark's like, why'd you sign me up? I don't want to be running.
Yeah.
And Pete's like, no, you do a good job. Everybody likes you. And so Clark goes home and he's like, yeah, I think I'm going to quit. And Jonathan says, quitting's a very hard habit to break. And I really liked that line. I was like, that's true. Once you start, it's easy to just quit.
Which, it's funny that you brought that up because I actually had something about that moment too. How could he quit something he never started? He never wanted it. Peter started it.
Pete started it.
I'm not starting, so how can I be quitting when I never started?
That's true. Oh, that's funny.
That line irritated me. I was like,
oh, really?
He didn't start it. Yeah. I mean, it's a good quote, but I was like, that's so dumb in this moment because he didn't even start it. Yeah, it's not like I'm going to run for president. Oh, just kidding. I'm going to quit.
That's true.
He didn't want to begin with. Later he did. He leaned into it and liked it, but
yeah. Anyway, I didn't have too much to say about this episode other than at one point Chloe asks him for a line. She says, "So what is your stance? Like, what do you stand for?" And Clark, this is my Superman reference quote. He said, "I stand for truth, justice, and none other stuff." And I'm like, oh, that was so good. Because Superman stands for truth, justice, and the American way.
Yeah. In this episode, Chloe was really annoying.
Yeah, she is annoying in this one. But they did have that cool explosion of the Queen Bee's campaign headquarters at the end.
Which, I mean, come on. She would have burn marks on her. Maybe not where Clark was laying on her, but on the edges.
Oh, yeah.
Of her body.
He's a big guy and she's a little girl, so.
I know, but even if she's on top of her, he can't completely cover her. Like, there's no covering unless he has a fire blanket. Unless he's a blanket. He is not a blanket. He's a human being that doesn't mold.
Well, so he's also super fast, so he could have, the fire's coming right there, right now, and fire's coming right there, and he moved all around to protect her from all the different spots with his speed.
Okay, but her hair would still be singed. Her hair would be singed. She would have blisters on like the edges of her arms, like a lot up and down.
Maybe she
her
did,
arms.
And you just didn't see it.
She should have. She looked perfectly fine when he picked her up to carry her away. I'm just saying. And why did he just cover her up? Why didn't he just run out with her? Because the whole place exploded.
I know. He should have used his speed then. But
yeah.
He had to do that cool jump, throw maneuver.
It wasn't that cool, though.
I liked it.
It would have been cooler, did you? It would have been cooler if he just picked her up and ran away.
Kyle laughed out loud at that spot. He was like, "What?" He's like, "This is way different than listening to it." Because, the other times I watched the show, he would just he'd be in the other room playing, Civilization 6 or something, and he just heard the show. He's like, "This is way different watching it than listening to it." I'm like,
funnier, probably.
It probably is. One more thing I did want to, if you have something else about this episode, but there's one more thing. There's a reporter in it that's trying to get a story on Lex, and he ends up paying her off and with a job
bribing
offer.
Her.
Yeah. To not write a bad story about him. So she ends up taking his offer and ends up writing a nice story about him. But the actress is, I like surprising you with the people that are in other things. So she is from Mighty Ducks. Her name is Connie in Mighty Ducks. She's the girl player on the team.
Interesting. Well, there you go.
All right. Episode 19. This one I called Telekinesis Kid.
Crush.
Wow.
I did art guy messed up fingers.
Okay, so Justin, he is actually, so as we're doing these actors and other things, I'll tell you right away, Justin played my favorite character in a show that was called The OC. He played this character named Seth, and I just loved him in that show. He was great. So, Justin is an artist with messed up fingers.
Yeah.
The guy that worked on him, the doctor, Justin is out for revenge.
Oh, yeah.
Of the people that ruined his life. He also, right away, takes out the doctor that messed up his hands. Because he is an artist, and now he can't draw unless he uses his telekinesis power that he developed while he was in healing in the hospital.
Yeah.
Which he's a really good artist.
Oh, yeah.
With his mind.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Like,
I remember
instantly.
As a kid being like, oh man, this is going to be so cool. And the art that I imagined in my head, I could never get it down on the paper. I wonder if what he imagines in his head is what he can get on the paper, since it's telekinesis, right? So everything that he envisions really cool ends up on the paper. Like, that would be a step up if you're an artist, right? He shouldn't be mad. He should be thanking the doctor.
But like your vision in your head versus what you're putting on paper, you have the vision, but your tools are your hands. You're just manipulating with your hands.
Yeah, but now he's manipulating with his mind, so he can put what's in his mind exactly on the, like, he's better. He's a better artist now.
No, I disagree. I think he's the same artist. He's just better at manipulating, like, the medium.
Okay.
Isn't that what you call it?
Yep,
where it's like,
it is.
Because your hands are manipulating the medium, but it's his mind still, because your brain is what tells your hand to do something. So if you can't get what's in your head on paper, why do you think this guy is special and can do it by telekinesis when it's the exact same way if his hands were actually working?
I don't think so. I think because it's just his mind. Because sometimes my hands don't want to do what my mind tells them to do. You know, when you're like, no, I want to.
So your hands have a mind of their own?
No, it's just there's a disconnect. Like, it isn't straight from my brain onto the paper. It's from my brain to my hands to the paper. So
you think because of
that extra step in there,
that extra-ness of not,
that's why it doesn't turn out exactly the way I want it to.
Mind to hand to medium. Okay. Well, I disagree. I think he just has that skill of turning what's in his mind to what's on the paper.
Yeah, it's true.
Because he's that kind of artist. I think if you were to study and to practice, I bet you
I'd probably be better.
Whatever
You're
artists,
right.
whatever skills they have I bet though, because I think even artists, like, they're like, it didn't turn out how I wanted it to. Like, I think it's the same for them. Yeah. I don't think it's any different.
That's true. Okay, so what do you have to say about this one?
I kind of thought it was really interesting how Whitney aged very well. He looked way better in this episode than he has in the past.
So Kyle said he got rid of his 90s heart hair. Because when they have the bangs that curl around and create the heart on their forehead?
Yep.
Yeah,
that's funny. That's a good way to describe it.
He got a good haircut. He got a good haircut and improved his look.
He did. I think this is like one of my Kooky moments. There were a couple, but I think this is like the number one that was super annoying. Oh, I guess this is the number two, because where Clark and Lana are super cryptic with each other, and it was so annoying. I thought it was so annoying. I was like, you two are so dumb. That's just so dumb. And the fact that Clark had to be told, even though he had hints, like the fact that Chloe wanted him to ask her to some dance like a couple episodes back, and then all of a sudden Pete says she likes you. It was like, finally, oh, okay. What am I gonna do about it? It's like you're I don't know. I was annoyed at that.
Okay. I was kind of sad that they killed off Principal Kwan. So it isn't just like a new person that's been in our high school all this time and we've never seen them before. Right. And you're our friend,
Yeah.
But they kind of have these characters that are there throughout. Just, it was nice having someone that isn't a main character that's on the show every once in a while.
Yeah, it's consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's the last thing I wanted to talk about in this episode is Lex's old nanny, shall we call her that, shows up.
Sure.
And, and he's upset because she just left without saying goodbye even. And come to find out, Lionel had paid her to leave. And said she could never come back into his life because she was making him soft.
No, I thought because she inherited the mom's something or other. I thought he threatened her to take it away.
Yes. Essentially, it wasn't that he paid her off. He just threatened to
take it away,
make it so she couldn't have money. Yeah, exactly. So she comes back anyway because, she's dying of cancer. So she has nothing to lose. She doesn't care about the money anymore.
Conveniently.
So I just had a question for you about that. Like, what things would you do differently if you knew you were dying?
I think I would be around the people that I love more often. Like I would go out of my way to go see someone. I would do more things with Anders. I would do more things with Emmeline and Matt. I would come out and see you guys. I think I would just be around the people that I love most. And
yeah, I agree.
Because there's no way I'm gonna be able to, like, there's a book out there that I was like halfway through. I haven't finished it. The Last Lecture is what it was called, because he was a college professor. Yeah, and he was diagnosed, and he's like, how do I, so when you find out you're dying, it's not like you're gonna be able to cram all the things that you want your kids to learn. So it's just like you just gotta enjoy the time that you have to just be with them, because I feel like that is most important, and that's what'll stick with them, is the fact that you hung out with them more. Yeah. I need to do that, actually. I need to be with them more.
Yeah, it's true.
What about you?
That's really what it comes down to. It made me think of, while you're talking, it made me think of that country song, Live Like You Were Dying.
Yeah.
You know that song?
Yeah.
That really, when it comes down to it, your time is, you want to spend it with the things that are most important. So I'd probably quit my job and spend all the time that I could with my loved ones. That's what I would do. I wouldn't do any of that non-essential stuff. I would just do the essential stuff, which yes, we should live like we're dying in some ways, but we still need to, like, Kyle couldn't quit his job and just be like, I'm going to live like I'm dying and we'll just go visit family, because the money will run out,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So you can't
there's certain
things that you got to do, but there's also moments that you can be like, you know what? I'm going to, instead of half listen to my kid, I'm going to fully listen to my kid. I am going to fully invest time in this situation instead of being half there, half doing something else that needs doing. Or, I'd probably quit cleaning up my house. I'd be like, you know what? Let's go play somewhere.
Yeah.
But those things in real life, you got to keep doing.
Yeah.
But I think those little moments, you just got to make more of those and really invest in them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because looking back, there's definitely, how you always feel like there's no time to do anything, but the common theme throughout anyone's life is you put your time towards what you choose is important. So if you feel like you don't have time, you need to evaluate where you're spending your time. And I feel like I spend my time either on YouTube or watching a movie where I could be like sitting with Anders and watching a show with him if he's watching TV, or just sitting with Emmeline while she plays, because she really just wants somebody to sit with her and be with her. You know, I feel like that's mostly the thing. And then to just kind of discover the world, how she sees it, and just sit with her and kind of do the same things or show her something and keep repeating it till she does it, you know, because she copies, and it's just things like that. And then play board games with Matt, because we always watch TV, so that gets old fast. But it's interesting because there was a YouTuber I saw who he tries things for 30 days, and one of the things he tried was he woke up super early. He had, I think it was a minute or 5 minutes to imagine he was dying, and then journaling. And because just talking about that, it made me think of his experience and how he's like, I felt like I was more present and just kind of being in my day. And I think that I feel like that's probably what it would be like to live like you were dying, is to just be present. And it's so vague, but I think everybody's got to figure out what that means for them. I think for me, it is doing those things like you had said, of not being halfway in a conversation with your kid, but being fully in a conversation with your kid. Like Anders to me is super chatty and talks all the time, but it's like there's going to be a time where he's not going to want to talk to me, and I'm going to miss the moments that he's super chatty. So it's like I need to appreciate that now, because it's going to change and I'm going to miss it. And just because I'm used to having no one talk to me doesn't mean that I can't appreciate the things that he says, because he's pretty funny, and the things that he regurgitates from his friends, it's like, oh, kid. So that's a good question.
All right, episode 20. This I called Lana Cop Vision.
That's pretty good. Obscura.
What kind of a name is that? Okay.
Right? Yeah.
All right.
Some of these names, it's like you hear it and you're like, it doesn't trigger anything.
Yep. That's why I wrote my own titles.
It's obscure. Yeah.
Okay, so this one, they had another cool explosion right off the bat. So they did really good with like all the stunts and the explosions in these couple of episodes we watched. I liked them. But this one, Lana and Whitney are out riding horses. They come upon something about to blow because the cops are all around, or emergency people are all around trying to fix these pipes. And then there's this huge explosion. And because there's kryptonite around when the explosion happened, Lana develops the ability to see through this bad guy's eyes, essentially. And she keeps getting visions of things he's doing. So she sees the cop kidnap Chloe. But Chloe was off on this trip, so nobody thinks anything of it, and Lana just thinks she's going crazy. And then come to find out her vision's true. So Lana sees that she gets buried alive, and then Clark goes and like scans.
Which is like, how do you explain how you find her?
I know. Like, or how do you explain why your vehicle isn't there to her?
Yeah, I thought like that
I was just wandering the field. I went on a walk and I wandered in the field and Dougie. Like, how does he explain things to people? Like, where's your vehicle, Clark? Why are you?
Where's the shovel?
Where's the shovel? So
why didn't you alert us so we could all help you?
Or does he like pull her out of the coffin, knock her out real quick, and then run her to the hospital and have his parents meet him there so he has a vehicle or whatever? I don't know.
I don't know either.
But sometimes you're like, how did you get away with that and people not be suspicious? So
don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
don't be suspicious. Don't be
Don't be
suspicious.
suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Oh. Anyway, so Chloe is okay-ish. She kind of has a little PTSD. And then Lana gets abducted. And come to find out it's a cop. And he wanted to be able to rescue Chloe. Like, the whole reason he kidnapped Chloe was so that he could be the one that found her and show everybody what a good cop he's going to be. Mm-hmm. So, whoa, dude, you're messed up a little bit. But he ends up getting shot because he sees Clark do all his super stuff. And so you have to get rid of people that see him see him do his super stuff.
We gotta get rid of everybody conveniently that knows about Clark.
Or they get knocked out and don't remember anymore.
Yeah. Or they
get locked away in the loony place. Right. Nobody believes them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
I didn't really have anything. This one was kind of meh for me.
Oh, okay. Well, Clark is talking to his dad, Jonathan, about Lex. Because Clark's trying to get Jonathan and Lex to kind of be okay with each other. Mm-hmm. So, and Clark says, Lex isn't perfect, Dad. I know that. But slamming the door in his face over and over only helps turn him into exactly what you think he already is. And I thought that was interesting because there are times when if you treat somebody a certain way or tell them something, they kind of latch on to that. One of the kids I worked with, and I don't think the people around him knew that he heard them say this about him. Mm-hmm. But he has ADD. So he's a little bit crazy sometimes. So getting him to like settle down and read was always kind of a task. Mm-hmm. But he was so great. I loved him. But one day when we were working, I was like, oh, he did all the things. And I was like, oh, you did a really great job. And he's like, I'm smart today because I took my medicine. And I was like, oh, no. Like, that isn't like that was so sad to me. Yeah. That like he either overheard somebody say something like that or something. But like in Lex's case, that over and over, Jonathan being like, no, I don't like you. Get away. I don't trust you. Mm-hmm. That it kind of affects. And Clark's like, that affects people, Dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're turning him into what you think he is. And I'm not saying people don't have choices. They do. But there is, you do have an influence over people by your actions as well. That doesn't mean that they have to let that influence them, but that influence is there. And so you need to be careful what you say around little kids, or you need to be careful about turning the villain into the villain, Jonathan.
Yeah, it's Jonathan's fault. Lex turns into the bad guy. Stupid head.
Spoiler alert. And one other thing that in this episode they did a really good job on. I like how they make all the farm chores look really easy for Clark. He picks up, these heavy bags and he picks up like 5 at a time and just tosses them. Or he pounds these fence poles into the ground and there's like an explosion when they go into the ground, which was a really cool effect. But just like stuff like that where they just make it look so breezy for him. I really liked that they did that. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's get to the last episode then. 21. I didn't have a name for this one.
You didn't?
I didn't. I was like, the last episode. That's what I called it. So there's just a lot going on, so I couldn't
There is.
kind of condense it into, I was like, tornadoes. Nope.
I actually did that. I did reporter, spies, and then a dash tornado.
Okay.
But it's called Tempest.
Okay.
So I loved Clark's reassurance to Chloe when I love how honest she is in this episode. Like, she is most of the time, but this episode, it like really shows how consistent they are with her character. And I loved how she was like, at first she was kind of like trying to play it off like everything's okay, and then she tells Clark, I'm worried that you're gonna go and run off to go be with Lana the moment Whitney gets on the bus. And he's like, hey, I asked you, I wanted to take you to the dance, and granted, because Lana wasn't available, but still he did a very good job of reassuring her. And he, like, I don't know, the way he looked at her, I thought it was super cute, and how he just wanted the night to be perfect for Chloe.
Yeah. There's one part while we're talking about this part, Clark's telling Chloe, he's like, have I told you how beautiful you look? And I love Chloe's response. It just tickled me. She says, yeah, but frequent reminders are always appreciated.
Yeah.
And like, that's true, because I love it when anybody compliments me. And so I'm like, yes, you can compliment me. That's allowed.
Yeah, that's very welcome. Yeah, that was cute. So this one did have my number one Kooky moment.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so...
Wait, before we get into your Kooky moment, let me give me a summary. Unless you were going to give a summary.
Yeah. Oh, I'll give a summary. Okay. I guess that's what you were... Yeah. I just went into everything. Okay, so there... Let me backtrack. So there... this episode, there is a lot going on. There is a dance. It's not prom necessarily. Or yeah, because
they couldn't say prom, I think, is what the deal was, because they're freshmen. Weird. So it's the spring formal.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so a spring formal is happening, and so Clark is getting ready for it, and Pete is getting ready for it. Pretty much everybody's getting ready for this. Because Clark had already asked Chloe in the previous episode, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So everybody's getting ready. Clark was going to ask Lex for a limo, but I think this is the same episode where Lionel, thank you. Even though you said it multiple times. Lionel.
Think of his mane of hair and how he's like a lion. Lionel.
Oh, okay. Lionel. Okay. I will remember that, hopefully. He comes and says that they're shutting down the plant. Everybody's losing their job because he wants Lex to come back with him and doesn't want Lex to succeed on his own. And so Lex is trying to fight tooth and nail to figure out what to do to save the plant and everyone's job. And so Clark's like, well, I can't ask him because he's going through things. So he's busy. So he was just going to pick her up in his truck. But there is a reporter who is spying on Clark, because in the episode where Chloe and Lana get kidnapped, he sees Clark do his Supermanness at the end of that episode. Mm-hmm. And so he is suspicious / can't believe what he's looking at. So in this episode, he puts a bomb in the truck while Clark is doing his awesome, I can put a pole in the ground with just my arm explosion that Emmeline was talking about. And he gets in the truck and turns it on, and it explodes, and he gets out of the truck and is like, what the crap? So the Clarks just think that something went weird with the truck, because that's totally normal for a truck to explode. Must have been the something. It's like, no, I'm pretty sure even if that was it, it would not have exploded like that. Anyway, So the reporter gets the confirmation that Clark is out of this world. And so he's pretty much just stalking the Kents at this point. And then Whitney has signed up for the military, the Marines, and the Marines are so irresponsible apparently in this episode that they're just going to take him out of freshman year.
He isn't.
That's what
he isn't a
happens.
freshman.
Oh, he's a senior.
He's
that's
in
right.
his senior
But he hasn't
year.
graduated yet. Like, school's not over and they're taking
Well,
him,
it's the end of the school year-ish. So, yeah.
Yeah, ish. He doesn't talk about graduating. He doesn't talk about getting his diploma. I think
Lana says, well, aren't you going to walk? And he's like, no, they're picking me up this week. So I think he was going to graduate. Yeah. He just isn't going to go to the ceremony.
To the graduation. Oh, okay. I know, but still, it was still weird because that's not how the military works. But anyway. So he's getting ready. So Lana's not going to the dance because she's just going to say goodbye to Whitney, and she drives him to the bus stop while the storm is a brewing. So Clark since the truck exploded, now Chloe has to pick Clark up, which is like kind of not fun, but they're super sweet about it. And so Chloe picks him up and he's like, you look great. And the wind's picking up. So the storm is coming, and they super windy when they get to the high school. So everybody goes inside. Whitney asks Clark to watch over Lana because that's a smart idea.
That was the dumbest request ever.
So dumb.
That was
He's
so
like,
lame.
I know that you first wanted my girl, but then I realized that you're a good guy. And it's like, he still wants your girl, you freaking idiot. You're just two in your own world.
I think that was kind of his guarantee that Clark would lay off if he's like, I'm going to do this heroic thing, take care of her while I'm gone, kind of thing. Like, so you're a jerk if you do anything while I'm gone. I don't know. I thought, his ask was so lame.
I doubt it.
I was like, that was lame.
Yeah. Yeah. Super lame. So, because it's like, just don't say anything. Just be like, okay, bye.
Exactly.
What high schoolers be like, watch over my girl? None. Yeah, and then things happen. Do we want to say what happens at the end? I guess that's like, we're at this point. So, which I thought, it's like another thing where it's like, how are you going to explain this to Lana? Because the principal, no, not the principal, but some teacher or somebody is like, hey, there's a tornado warning, but we're okay. We're on the south side of it. It's happening on the other side of town. So we're just going to stay here. We're not going to let any of you leave. And then Clark automatically is worried about Lana because he knows exactly where she's at. And she's in the tornadoes area. And screw his parents. It's like, Lana, gotta pay attention to Lana because she's who I really love. Screw you, Chloe.
Everybody else, essentially.
Yeah, everybody else, but gotta save Lana. Dirtbag. Anyway, not Clark. Lana's the dirtbag. But so, and she's crying for some reason, even though she was gonna break up with the guy.
I know.
But so she says goodbye to Whitney. And then the last minute when he's getting in the bus and she's getting in the truck, she looks at him. Or no, she was already in the truck. But they look at each other and she gets out of the truck and she runs to Whitney and they kiss. And then he gets on the bus and then she gets in the truck and she's crying as she can't pay attention to the bad weather and the fact that the tornado is to the left of her. Like, how dumb is this? Where it's like, even if you're an emotional wreck, you can still, oh my gosh, there's like trees flying around. That's weird. I better turn around or whatever. Anyway. So so a tornado comes. Clark goes to where Lana is because she swerves to miss something that's
mailboxes
right at her. Yeah. She can't get out of the way, and so she's stuck and she stays in the truck. And Lana comes, and then Clark comes, and then the tornado picks up the truck, and then Clark yells out Lana and runs towards the tornado because that's going to make sense later when it's like, I was awake watching you run towards a tornado, and then I didn't see you, and we're both alive. What the crap happened? Anyway.
To be continued.
Pretty sure that. To be continued, yeah, because you don't know what happens after that. So.
That's where it leaves it.
Yeah.
So there was one part where Lex and Clark are talking, and Lex is talking about how his relationship with his dad sucks. And he's like, it's built on our relationship. It's built on lies and deceit. Any relationship with that foundation is destined to fail. Lucky we don't have that problem. And Clark's like, yeah, lucky us. I thought that was funny because Clark's like, yeah, except I've been keeping stuff from you. And Lex knows he's been keeping stuff from Clark. So they totally are living that relationship. So it's destined to fail. Yeah. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then TV goodbyes are lame or are weird sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Like if your son was joining the military, wouldn't you drive him to the bus station? Yes.
Right?
Because, his dad is dead. But his mom isn't. Why didn't she drive him to the bus station? Or be with Lana and him at that moment? Like, and wouldn't his friends want to be there to say goodbye? Like, what is this? But sometimes, I get it. He's like, I want this moment to just be me and my girlfriend. So, okay. But some TV goodbyes are like that, where you're like, where the heck is everybody else? Why aren't...
Oh, it happened off screen. They all said goodbye off screen.
Oh.
Yeah, that's kind of dumb. Well, and speaking of their goodbye, I thought it was so dumb. That is my number one Kooky moment, because have you ever seen, I'm sure you have, do you remember the movie Thor where he leaves after he gets his powers back? Him and what's-her-face, Natalie Portman, they kiss goodbye, and then he goes up to take care of stuff. That kiss is the dumbest kiss ever. I don't know what had happened to Natalie Portman where she thought that like moving super fast in a kiss is like super, super romantic. It's like it was the weirdest, most awkward kiss ever, and I cringe every time I
don't remember.
it. And that was the kiss that Whitney and Lana did when they were saying goodbye to each other. It was that super awkward, like really fast head movement, Bob. It's like, you guys are dumb.
Nobody does that.
Nobody does that. It was so weird.
There's a moment in there near the end, because you see all these different people that are being affected by the tornado. And at one point you see Lex and Lionel together, and they're arguing, and then the tornado hits and, causes wreckage. And Lex gets thrown across the room, and a shelf falls on him, and Lionel gets knocked down by a pillar and is kind of pinned down, and then a ceiling beam comes, and it's all spiky and ragged because it's been broken, and it's like aiming right at his face, and he's like, and
Bob,
and
like
Lex,
it's gonna fall any minute.
And Lex stands up, and Lionel like, Lex, help me. And this look that Lex gives, this villain look, it looks even worse because he's got like blood draining across his face because he got all, beat up with the shelf falling on him. But oh my gosh, he gives like a villain look, and you're like, that's it. That's the like. You see little bits of like the evil Lex come out here and there. What did you think of it being a cliffhanger, Kindy?
Well, I kind of know what happens after,
so you've seen it.
I didn't really see it.
How far did you get watching before we started?
Because I know at one point Well, it's probably after Lionel. This. It's probably the second season. Lionel. I called him Linus, didn't I? Yeah, I'm just gonna mess up his name this whole time. Or I'll just call him Lex Dad. At some point he can't walk anymore. I don't know if it's because of this accident or it's something else, and then he can't see. And then, so he just has things happen to him, but I don't know if it was this. But I know that he survives, so. And Lex does save him, but he, resents him for pausing.
Well, we'll get into that next time.
It's you're surprised that your son hesitated? I guess that could have been a topic. Is there something that you're shocked, even though you shouldn't have been shocked about, that has happened in your life? Yeah, anyway.
Okay, so
that was it.
That's it for this time. Next episode, we'll be starting season 2.
Yeah.
So we'll be watching episodes 1 through 4. We would love to hear from you. We really appreciate it when our listeners reach out to us with a comment or a question. We have a Facebook page where we post a question and you can interact with us there. We have an email as well, which we're pretty prompt at responding to. And that, along with our website, are listed in the show notes linked to this episode.
If you enjoyed or enjoy listening to us ramble on about many various things, we would like you to tell others about us. Share something you learned with them that you learned here today, listening to our ramblings of being moms and having mom guilt and how talented Emmeline is and the many, many things that she can do. We would like to thank Red Production for the music and Jonica for our logo, and to our listeners. We are grateful that we have listeners. We are happy that you are out there. We're happy that it's family. We'll be happy if it's more. If it's not, we'll just be happy because we're happy that you're here and we appreciate you.
Doodle pip.
I love that you do that.
So we were riding in the car and Clark was sitting there and he's like, I need to think about my business. And Lorenzo scoffs and is like, Clark, you don't have a business. And then Clark was like, it's my mind business. You need to mind your own business, Lorenzo. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was a burn. Lorenzo walked right into that.
Oh, that is hilarious. That's pretty good.